guys, welcome back to another edition of Max and Nikki 1000th Time Reactions,
where we react to a song for our 1000th time listening to it.
we release 3 videos a day, every day.
So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all this amazing content.
That's
of ours.
right. What are we going to listen to right now, Nikki?
We're going to listen to Come Together by the Beatles. We've definitely listened to this song way more than 1,000 times, thousands and thousands of times.
Sure. But before we take a listen, we got to mention, as we normally do,
That we have another channel
called Max and Nikki, where we perform
Oldies
tunes,
jazz
standards,
standards, and
some
originals in that
stuff as
vein.
well. And we got comedy videos on there as well.
So make sure to check that out if you so desire.
But for right now, let's get to
Come Together
by the Beatles.
for our 1000th time.
Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. Got juju eyeball, he one holy roller. He got hair down to his knee. Got to be a
All right, Come
All right,
Together,
Come Together by the Beatles.
off of the Abbey Road album.
This is just another example of Ringo Starr's exemplary drum work here.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's so very identifiable. I mean, you can listen to the drums by themselves, and you know what the song is.
Well,
actually,
the on the toms there, that's very iconic. But
well, I mean, just the whole way through. Actually,
sure, yeah. He's got really good fills. You know,
got these
even
good
like
fills, yeah.
On the part, feel his disease, come to or. On the Come Together right now. There's a part where you just hear him do the kick, the kick drum.
Okay.
It's like in a more sort of where the rest of the instruments aren't playing as much. And it just works really well with the song. I don't know, there's something very present about his drums,
He knows how to utilize space well.
Right.
And also...
He wasn't too showy either. He did just the right amount.
Sure. But he is also known to not want to take any solos as well.
Sure.
But I also want to mention that there's this part with, it sounds like an electric keyboard over here.
Sure, yeah.
In the right ear, and the bass is in the left ear. And they're kind of playing off each other at one point, which is kind of cool,
It's not just that. There's a part where the bass is kind of oscillating, actually pans back and forth between the center and the left.
I don't think you're right about that.
Are you sure?
I think it's actually what's happening is the interplay between the keys and the bass is happening so synergetically that's just what's happening.
Well, it's interesting.
Or synergistically.
I think there was a good amount of distortion on both the rhythm guitar and that keyboard, and because there were points where the keyboard sounded almost guitar-like because it was distorted somehow,
Well, You also had there was also this one part where they were using a volume pedal because you can kind of hear the guitar going roo kind of a thing.
Right. The
was
bass,
cool,
the
yeah.
bass is really good in this, and obviously very identifiable as well.
Paul's on the bass,
It's
of course.
also, the quality of the bass is pretty thick. Actually, it's not super. I guess
Thin?
punchy. It's really sort of. It's thick. You really feel the low end on it, and it works very
not
well
quite
for the song.
to the degree that you might on a modern.
Well, we
tune.
are listening to the
We are listening to the
2009 remastered version of the
of course,
song.
also. There's also the distorted guitar in the left ear, which isn't also doing. It's just adding just enough.
Sure.
It's just adding. It's adding to the timbre of the overall quality, but
Sure.
it's not being overly intrusive or anything.
And if I'm not mistaken, those are George Harrison's guitar solos on what I believe is slide guitar.
It could be. I think they were getting into slide guitar at the time,
but
for sure.
His solos around this time and leading into All Things Must Pass sounded, and on the Imagine album, George Harrison. His solos he utilized slide guitar a lot, and his
How Do You Sleep?
His style
How
of
Do You
slow-
Sleep?
How Do You Sleep? He does. His style of soloing was very kind of identifiable.
Yeah,
it was George actually.
Sure.
And correct me if I'm wrong about that, but it does sound like George there soloing.
Yeah. In fact, but also wasn't Come Together, wasn't it a double A side? Something like that?
I believe it was a double A side with something.
With
actually.
something, I believe.
And,
yeah.
It was the point where the other band members or the other, Paul McCartney and John Lennon, they both admitted that.
recognized that George probably had the best songs on the album.
Well, but
actually.
not only that George finally, they could see him as an equal as far as songwriting goes,
Sure,
a peer. And so something.
No, as far as I'm concerned, I think he was perhaps an equal before. Well, it's just, he was, I think he just had there was obviously issues where he, just getting his songs to be played by the rest of the band. But While My Guitar Gently Weeps, that's
even
a
before
really
that,
great
Taxman
song,
is, that's a very memorable. Dun, 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 dun,
Sure.
But there's also. I was
Blue
gonna
Jay
say,
Way, I also like that song.
Sure, yeah. He's got a Within You, Without You, right?
Anyway, we can go on about George Harrison. We can save that for another tune.
Frank Sinatra once said his favorite Lennon-McCartney tune was Something.
and
he didn't realize at the time that it was actually George Harrison
right,
who
which
wrote that song.
which is kind of a funny statement that he clearly was just maybe a little out of the loop on that kind of a thing. But also, what's interesting about that is just to show that he had come up to the level of their songwriting abilities, at least in the ears of maybe Frank Sinatra. But
Anyway, this is a classic tune and probably one of the more popular Beatles songs out there, right?
sure,
And I think that's
that'll
going to do it for today's
our listen
reaction.
of "Come Together" by the Beatles.
If you like what you saw and heard today, please hit that subscribe button and ding that post notification bell to find out about more Max and Nikki reaction videos.
Keep tuning in.